Hi Facebook, great to see you all. It's been a little while since we've had a chat. If you don't know me, I'll introduce myself. My name's Michelle Crawford and I'm from a business called Being More Human, and we help individuals, teams and organisations to become more human in every sense of that word. And the live stream that I thought would be fun to do today is something that I hear all the time when I'm out and about. It's something that I do and say myself, and it's something that my family does and says as well. It's it feels like such a normal thing to do and say, and yet when you really sit and reflect on these particular comments that we make, and you look at the implications of those and what it means in terms of our power and whether or not we are creating an empowered situation for ourselves, or whether we're actually giving our power away to someone else, you'll understand why I thought it was worth a little bit of a second look for today. So this is one of my pet peeves, and it's one of my pet peeves whether I'm saying it, whether someone in my family is saying it, or whether I hear it being said by either clients or other people that I come across. And I want you to think about your own world and yourself when I make this comment. So what I'm talking about is when someone says, "You make me feel." So you might be talking about your partner, and he may have done something or she may have done something that for whatever reason you don't like or you don't agree with, and you feel angry. So it would be perfectly natural in that situation for you to say to other people around you, "He made me feel," or "She made me feel a particular way." And if you really think about what you're doing when you say that the other person made you feel, it's quite extraordinary if you think about it. Because in that moment, what you're doing is giving the other person all of the power. You're giving them the right to decide how you're going to feel. And I'm not sure about you, but I don't like to give other people around me that kind of right. I'd much prefer to be in a situation where I get to choose how I feel and I'm owning how I feel. And I'll give you another example, and this happened years ago now when my son was little. And when my kids were growing up, I always used to say to them, "Why are you choosing to feel angry?" Or "Why are you choosing to feel sad?" And the purpose being, clearly communicating to them that how they were feeling was a choice that they were making. So I would say, "Why are you choosing to feel angry?" And of course, as luck would have it with beautiful little children, that backfires sometimes. And so at one point in time, my little boy, he turned around and he said, well, I was upset with him for something, and he says, "Mummy, why are you choosing to feel angry?" So it's an interesting thing when you start going down the journey of really genuinely starting to own your emotions. And if you're focused on your internal world and how you're responding to something rather than reacting to something, that's the way that you can begin to own your emotional world. If you find yourself in a situation where you're just reacting and you've just got this kind of energy that is very defensive and very off-putting, you are being very reactive and you're not being very responsive. If you genuinely want to feel empowered about your emotional world and other people's emotional world, then you start to own what you're feeling. So you would say, in the example that I gave you before about being angry or upset with your partner, instead of those words that are my pet peeve, where you say, "You made me feel," what you would do is simply acknowledge what the person's done. "This is what you did, and I feel." So what you're doing in that moment is owning your emotional response. And you're not saying that the cause of your emotional response is what the other person did. Okay, you're slightly separating those two things. And if you think about your world, that's such a powerful thing to be able to do, is to separate and choose your emotional response rather than being on autopilot and going from a reactive point of view and giving your power away to everybody else around you. So the next time you hear yourself saying, or you listen to someone else saying, "You made me feel," I want that to trigger a big red alert in your brain, because that red alert means in that moment you're giving your power away. So if you genuinely want to feel good, like you can choose your emotional response in a situation, it's your job to take that back and stop giving it away to other people. So have a think in your life, in your world, who is one person where you give all your power away to this particular person? And how are you going to plan to actually take that back and be much more empowered about how you choose to respond in a situation? So I hope you have fun thinking about who that might be in your world. It's something that I'm going to be much more conscious of as well. And also just wanted to give a shout out, and if you haven't been on our Being More Human Facebook site, now's a great time to do that. We've got some fun things happening. Tomorrow we're taking a big group of people down to Sydney to a conference, which is going to be loads of fun. And then on October 10th coming up, we are partnering up with UQ Power, and in the form of Human Power, we're holding a diversity and inclusion conference. And if you'd like to check out the details of the diversity and inclusion conference, you can do that either on the Being More Human Facebook site, or you can jump on to the Human Power website. And we'd love to see you to come along on that day. In the meantime, start practicing owning your emotions. Have a great afternoon. Bye.